954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Welcome to INCRadio Oregon, where our brethren from different parts of Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming greet you. Come get to know all of our brethren from the Ecclesiastical District of Oregon and explore our activities, experiences, and sceneries. This is Oregon.
Welcome to INCRadio Oregon. We thank you so much for sharing your precious time, and we hope you enjoy our topic and our discussion for today. I am your host, Geraldine Langit, and I'm excited that you guys are here in our show today, and we value your insights and feedback. So please share your thoughts on today's topic in our live chat, and we'll be reading some of your comments on air. And so your voice is an important part of our discussion. And we want to remind our audience to stay tuned throughout the whole broadcast. And remember to also hashtag your local congregation and group worship services so we know where you're from. And I'm not alone today, so I would like to introduce my co-host, Sister Flo Guillermo.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today as well. And we get to discuss this topic, and hopefully it'll help all of us. So go right ahead, Geraldine, on what's next. Oh,
Yes.
actually, yeah. Um, hold on. And the topic of our discussion today is hit the pause button. This is a metaphor or a figure of speech. It means taking a temporary break and not quitting. So just remember that temporary break and not quitting. Another meaning is pausing on something you are doing now before reacting or continuing. We all experience moments when we need to hit the pause button, and today we will explore the power of intentional break. So, life gets really, really hectic these days, and they say there is power in pausing. It is intentional and can last a short or a predetermined extended time. When we do this, we grow and see things more clearly. So let's talk about this, Geraldine.
Yes, Flo, thank you for introducing our topic. It's a very, very interesting topic today. But before we continue with our question and answer, we do have our live chat question. So if we can have our Kuya Tech show our slide. And so our question is, what do you do when you hit the pause button? Or in American way, button Tagalog, in Filipino, it's button. So what do you do when you hit the pause button? So let us know in the live chat so we can read those answers. But we actually have our first answer to that, Sister Flo. I think Brother Andrew already knew what we are going to ask. But he said, when I hit the pause button, I might sleep or nap or walk or jog or pray or write a poem or swim or dot, dot, dot. So there is a lot of things to do when we hit the pause button. So let's not be scared to do that because the world is not going to stop if we hit that pause button. Okay pa? Yeah, so we'll wait for those answers in the live chat. So
I love what he said. It's like all the action that he mentioned there are intentional. So take a nap, take a walk, and you just do it. And I'm sure that when you come back from doing that, it gives you a more refresh feeling, right? So,
I agree.
um, any any more of those answers, please let us know there in the live chat. We'd love to read them, and maybe we'll give others an idea of maybe they can do that next, right? So just kind of looking over here, and I just saw Sister Morietta Miller there from Medford Group Worship Service. I believe she goes to work on her yard. Um, I love that. I have a yard, Sister Geraldine. I need to make that a project. So maybe I'll do that too.
Yes.
Anything else that you'd like to you see there?
Yeah, I have one from Sister Maria Crizia, Layonko. She said, when I hit the pause button in the classroom with my second grade class, we dance together as our brain break or play calming music. That's a really nice way, Sister Maria Crizia. Um, sometimes when people might think, oh, when you're doing something, it might not be a break, like you're still doing something. But if it's a fun activity like dancing or like listening to music, then
Hmm.
that's also a good way of hitting the pause button, before you continue with more homework or like more job work. And so that's a good answer.
I love that you stop and pause and with her second grade students. I know she's a teacher, Sister Crizia, and from INCRadio, Virginia, I believe, and she loves doing that. I can already envision her doing that. So yeah, so we'll go bounce back to some of the answers as we progress in our program today. And so really, what does hitting the pause button mean to you? Um, what does that mean to you, Geraldine?
So for me, when I first heard the topic, hitting the pause button or hit the pause button, it reminded me of when I'm watching a movie or like a show, because I love K-drama, Korean dramas. And
Mhm.
so when I'm watching a show, it reminded me of when the scene or like the situation is getting too intense, I would just like pause the button and, like, what was that? What happened? You kind of like think about, oh, this just happened, that just happened. You kind of like have your little summary in your head, and once you're if reevaluated the situation, that's when you go again and play the show, for example. And in life, that also like what happens. Um, so stopping or temporarily stopping what we're doing, so we can reevaluate the situation, recharging ourselves, and
Mhm.
taking time for ourselves to before we continue what we're doing. I think that's what hitting the pause button mean to me. Taking a break, kind
Yeah.
of like our last episode before with the giving your mind a break.
Right. It's pretty similar what we're talking, but this is basically more like it's like a intentional or an action item that we do. For me, when they say when hitting the pause button, what it means to me is slowing down a bit. The world is moving so fast. So slowing down a bit and just kind of taking a breather is what hitting the pause button mean to me. So, what else are we discussing here, Geraldine?
Yeah, before we continue, I just want to agree with you, Flo. I like that you mentioned slowly, like slowing down kind of. You didn't mention like stopping, because we're not stopping, we're just slowing
Mm-hmm.
down, and that's a really good way to look at it. Instead of like running, 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 doing all of our everyday work, we just walk and appreciate our surroundings, appreciate what's going on. And I think that's a really good reminder for not for me personally, because I just had a really hectic week, and this is episode is I would say is really for me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're also talking about, responding rather than reacting. Like before we react, we take a break, which we'll talk about later in our show. But yeah, I just have a question, Flo. Was there a time that you felt you needed to hit the pause button in life or situation?
I do. And I did so many times. So many times, I want to I want to just put out a, big kudos to the young moms or moms for that matter who has especially uh, active children. Um, they're some maybe in some are toddlers and some are school children. Um, those were the times when as mom as a mom we do a lot of things, taking them to school, doing a lot of things in the house. um, and sometimes we're full-time moms, full-time working moms, that is. And those are one of those times that I really needed to just kind of take a pause, only because there are times when you feel like maybe is a little bit rattled a bit. So what do I need to do when things get a little bit too hectic? Just take a pause. We're not stopping everything. We're just it's basically just a slight pause of things, right? Um, and how about for you, Geraldine? When did you feel like you need to take a pause?
Yeah, Flo, I think for me, I just felt it this week. Before last night, I even told you I had to sleep early because I was so tired from the whole week. I had my finals for college and I also working more than what I used to do. And so I thought, okay, if I just keep on studying, working, I don't think I'm gonna be successful in what I wanted to do. Like for finals, I know it's important to study, it's important to work, but like what we've been talking about in our show today, taking a pause doesn't mean you're not gonna study anymore. Like you're just gonna let yourself fail in your classes. Or taking a pause doesn't mean you're just not gonna show up to work anymore because I'm taking a break. I'm not gonna show to work. That's not what we were talking about. So for me personally, I for like my Tuesday, I had a day off and I really just stayed at home, stayed in bed. Took a nap. I took a lot of naps. I slept a lot. And once I woke up, I felt really recharged, Flo. And that was a really, when people say a much needed nap.
I think resting is a good thing. It's nothing wrong with resting. Um, because like you said, look at the result that came out of that for you in resting. Your brain is like you're recharged, your whole body's recharged. I wanted to just make mention that it's nothing wrong with taking a pause. The moms, the dads, as long as you don't leave the kids alone, take a pause a little bit. Sometimes you just need to walk away for a little bit. And so there's nothing wrong with that. So I just wanted to mention that to our viewers that there's nothing wrong with doing such thing.
Yes, especially it's yesterday I believe was the first day of spring.
Yeah?
And so today we're getting really, a really pretty day, super sunny. So it's a perfect day to go out, kind of like what Andrew said earlier, to just go for a walk, go for jogging, go exercise outside, and that's already enough as a way to be taking a pause. Okay,
Mhm.
so our next question, Flo, does pausing help us understand what is happening, and why?
Yeah, sometimes a lot of us, especially adults, I know young kids do make decisions too, but most time adults. when there's so many decisions to make, and sometimes they need answers, or you need to answer them like right now, right now or tomorrow, and it's you feel hurried. So when you're able to take a pause and say, hold on, I need to take a pause on this and make the right decisions, because pausing before making decisions allow us, to give a little bit more thought, consideration, so that the outcome of what you think you want it to happen will be better than what you thought. I come to that because when you're hurried to make a decision, um, it sometimes it doesn't turn out right. So you need to understand why. You need to understand what's going on. And when you're doing such thing as making a very important decision, you need a little bit more than like a quick pause, right? You need maybe, okay, some of us, we say, oh, let's sit on it, or let's sleep on it, right? We hear that. And so let's those are times when we do it does help us to understand what we're doing.
That's really good, Flo. Thank you for that. I agree. I feel like if we're rushing to like finishing something, we're just finishing it just for the sake of finishing it.
Mhm.
It's kind of like we don't think about the quality of, for example, like of a product, but we just want to get it done. We just want to submit it, and like that's it. And I feel like if that's what we're doing, it ends up not being what we want it to be.
Right.
And so I think what you like, well, our topic today, hitting that pause button and like taking a step back, reflecting, or like thinking, how can I improve this? If we're doing something, if we're feeling overwhelmed, for example, it might be helpful to just pause and to calm down and reassess ourselves. And then after that, then we'll have like a clear vision of what's going on. And I also like what Sister Maria Crizia said. She said, each time I feel that I needed to pause the button, I needed to pray and leave everything to our Almighty God. And that's us members of the Church of Christ, that's our most powerful instrument or tool when we're getting tired, when we're feeling overwhelmed. We sit in silence and like pray to our Almighty God, casting everything to Him. And then after that, God, to yourself, God is with you, because then after that prayer, you feel more energized, your mind is clearer. And so that's the, I would say, Flo, that's the best way um to hit the pause button, like what to do when we're hitting the pause button.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with um, Sister Maria Crizia. I believe her name is Lorraine, Sister Lorraine. I know her. Um, she said it right on spot. Um, when there's like so many things going on, and especially we touched on decision making. When it's gets too much, and you just have to say, okay, take a pause, close your eyes, and 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 pray, because sometimes the answer to your decision does not come right away. So praying and reflecting, and 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 hopefully you'll, with prayer, you'll get your answer, right? So yeah, I love that. um Brother Andrew said sometimes our work can be a pressure cooker, right? It's like they're piling on work for you. You got to do this, you got deadlines to do. So we sometimes need to hit the pause button so we don't boil over. I love that. Pressure cooker, boiling over. And honestly, in life, it sometimes does happen. So, yeah, uh, I it's kind of like a good relation to that. All right.
For that flow, I kind of just want to add when I was reading that or when you were mentioning that comment, something came to my mind. Like for example, when we're cooking rice, especially for those who are in the Philippines, you know, there before when I was still in the Philippines, I experienced cooking rice on a stove instead of a rice cooker. And then my mom would remind me, do not forget the rice. So we would turn on the stove, high heat, and then once the pot is like boiling or the water is boiling, you have to lower down the heat
Right.
so the rice won't overcook or the rice won't get burned. So I thought that was a good way also to think about, you know, sometimes when we're working, we're high, we're up there, um, and then so we just need to slow down to lower down the heat, and so we don't feel overworked or overwhelmed.
Yeah. I it does happen in life, and that's how come. Like I said, this topic is perfect, and it's a good reminder for everyone. So how do you determine how long to stay in a pause mode, right? How long?
Yeah, Sister Four, we mentioned earlier, temporarily. So
Mhm.
let's not stay in pause mode for such a long time that we forget what we're supposed to do. So I think how we can determine how long to stay in pause mode is as long as we feel like we've been rested, we have like clear mind, you know, I think that's enough to go back on like work mode. Because sometimes I feel like if we are in a pause mode for a long time, then we'd lose the motivation or the inspiration to like um do better or like to do what we're supposed to do. And so I think to keep in mind, it's important to keep in mind to not stay in pause mode for too long, but you know, give yourself enough time when you feel like you're ready again to like face your project, face your work, then that's good enough time. How about you, Flo?
Yeah, I agree on that because when you walk away from something that is important, or you can, you it's too long, then you'll tend to forget what you've done and what you are supposed to do. So when you are in pause, think about it and determine, okay, um, when you decide you want to go back to it, you go back to it. But be good and ready when you go back to it. In the meantime, while you're in pause mode, pray about it. Is this for me to go back on? If not, then steer me to that next direction. What do you want me to do? So it really depends on what the situation is. So uh, we use our intelligence to determine when we want to, how long we stay in pause mode. Okay, so I know sometimes we're kind of shy or shame or not sure or uncomfortable, right? To let someone know that you need a pause on a project or a response. Have you ever felt that way, Geraldine?
Yes, well, I'm actually guilty of that, and I know to myself I need to work on that, letting someone that I need some more time. I need to pause a little bit before I can give you an answer. So but I've kind of like learned as, you know, time passes by, everyone is just is open. Everyone is open. If you're not ready, they'd be understanding. They're not gonna be like, "Why are you not ready? I gave you this deadline. Why are you not ready right now?" So no, they're not like that. They'd be understanding, saying like, "Okay, like you take your time." You know, for example, for us to Flow, I really appreciate how understanding you are. You know, sometimes I get pushback with some deadlines, but also like with school as well, for example, professors would say just send me an email, send me a message if you're not able to submit your homework on time, you know. So I believe everybody's like that. Everybody's understanding. So let's be direct, explain the reason why, we can't submit something on time, and offer a realistic reply date, so they're not waiting. At least they can expect you that you'd be done by this time. And then remember to be kind and respectful. Um, so don't just say, "Oh, I just need time." Like, why are you asking why I need time? Right? So be kind when saying why you need time, kind of like what we said, explain the reason, and then communicate your commitment to reply and complete intention. And I think that's a very good reminder for us when we can't meet a deadline, to just let them know, and to not run away from the mistake. I would sometimes that of not
Right.
submitting a deadline.
Yeah. It's important to come up front with this, because, or to know how to explain, and let them know, I really need a pause at this time. Um, most most people will understand, because maybe they're going through something too. So we need to also understand each other on what everyone is doing. And if you're, upfront with it and say, I really need this time to rethink on what to know, to how to realign things with my life. And so and then there. And so um we just have to be honest with one another. I want to go back, and I think there was some conversation there going on taking a mental health break. We have that at work. They give us days when we need to take a break from work, and that's what we do. We take a day off from work, so not to think about work, right? So just want to just share that as well. All right. So Geraldine, share with us
Yeah.
any more.
Yeah, I feel like before we go to our last question, I kind of just want to read more comments from our viewers today. So from our sister Lorraine, um, she said sometimes, or social media also is giving us so much toxic or so much things to be worrying about. And to hit that pause button is to detach from our devices for an hour or for a whole day. So yeah, I agree, Sister Lorraine. Sometimes we feel like when we're in bed resting, but we're on social media. So that's not really resting, because everything that's on social media makes us stress out, or, sometimes it's not even good for our mental health as well. So, detaching from our devices, texting, sending an email or sending a messages to your family saying, "Oh, I can reply today. I'll get back with you tomorrow," and stuff like that. Kind of like what we mentioned, just letting them know that you can't reply anytime soon. And then for Brother Jordan Augustine, he said, "Sometimes I want to take a pause all day, LOL." And so, yes, sometimes we all do. But he also mentioned, but God doesn't put us through situations we can't handle, and which is very, very right. So let's not lose hope. Sometimes it's very hard to deal with something, but like what we've been mentioning, just pray to our Almighty God, and He'll give us the answer to He'll give us the solution to solve the problem. And then for Brother Jess Guillermo, it's like a tip. If you're from Hawaii, he said, when I was in Hawaii and get stressed at work, I would take the rest of the day off and drive around the island. Mountains on one side of the car and the ocean on the other side always calmed me down. Brother Jess, you making me want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, you need to visit. It's very calming, when you can just go somewhere and just calm yourself. That's another great thing to do. But before we go on to our last portion of our topic today. I just wanted to go over there and say hello to those that's joining us in our live chat. And our first one that joined us today, well, I'm sure there were a few already that was joining us or waiting for the show to get started, but she chimed in early, and she is Sister Rachel Samia, all the way from Great Falls, there in Montana. Great Falls Group Worship Service. Hello. Um, Also, Sister Morietta Miller, Brother Alberson Makalintal. Hello, Pog. Hope all is well. We'll see you soon. He just he's now in Medford Group Worship Service. So, as well as Sister Danielle Macalintal's, Sister Carol Villanueva, who else is here? Brother RX Estrada joining us. Brother Andrew Wynn, all the way from INCRadio, Virginia. Brother Mario Oka there. Coming in from the local congregation of Brixtonville, District of Calooca North. Um, Anyone else that? Oh, here, Sister Mary Jane Angeles, one of um, our sisters there in Hillsboro, the wife of Brother DJ Angeles, Brother Nerio Kitoriano, all the way from Great Falls Group Worship Service. Anyone else? I hope I didn't miss anyone else joining us, but anyone else that you see there, Sister Geraldine?
Yes, Sister Flo. I believe our Sister Claire Cruz
Mhm.
is greeting us from saying happy watching INC Radio. She's our resident minister's wife.
Yes.
So Brother Jake's wife. And then yeah, I think that's all. But we also have a lot more actually on our live chat from Sister Jen Hanley from Vancouver and from Brother Arman Kagingin, a resident minister of Beaverton.
Yeah. So let's go on to that last question, Geraldine. Go for it.
Yes. So, Flo, we've been talking about, hitting that pause button when overwhelmed, but what are some of the benefits did you gain personally from hitting that pause button?
Some of the benefits, well, it lowers down. It will. I know it won't ever go away, but it lowers down the stress and the anxiety level. Um, that helps. That helps a lot when you can just take a pause on things. The stress level, anxiety just kind of goes, the level goes down, maybe 10 notches down, I would like to say. Um, you're more focused on things um, when you go back to whatever project that you're doing. And then I feel like I feel like I can make better decisions when we take a pause. How about for you?
Yeah, I agree with all those, Flo. I've also experienced those, but for me, just some more examples. It definitely increased my productivity. So, it gave me like a clear mind, so I felt like I could do more, um, and I'd feel more productive. And it also gives better sleep. So when your mind is calm, when you're not overworked, you're not overwhelmed, you can sleep better, which is very important to our lives, to sleep. And then it also allows me to appreciate the present moment, like whatever, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, instead of like running, not appreciating whatever is around you or surrounding you. But if you're just walking or slowing down, then you'd have more time to appreciate your surroundings. So I think that's also an important benefit of pausing or hitting that pause button. But I know we've been mentioning, hitting that pause button when you're overworked, when you have like a lot of things to do at school and stuff like that. But we want to mention that when we hit the pause button or take breaks, it does not mean that we should take a break from performing our duties. So I know So we, for us members of the Church of Christ, we also have work, we have school, and we also have our duties in the church. But most importantly, we can always take a break from school or from work, but let's never take a break from performing our duties, because when we perform our duties, that's when we're the most or the closest to our Almighty God, and that's when we can always tell him what's going on with our lives, and we can always pray to him, and he will definitely help us um, go through what we're going through, and he will give us the solution to our problems. So yes, it's important to take a break, but um, it's also very more and more and more important to be performing our duties and our services unto our Almighty God. Is there anything else you want to add, Flo?
I wanted to add to that. When we hit the pause button and we get to, pull back from things, that is where the time that we could also use to even more perform our duties. We said that, right? To give it more thought of what we're doing. Maybe we can do better and or have more ideas or on how to make things better in terms of performing our duties. So we say that we don't hit. So this is one thing that we don't do is, or we do is to not hit the pause button on performing our duties and um, doing our spiritual worship to our Almighty God. Okay, all right. And anything else you wanna share on this before I give our conclusion?
Yeah, I think we mentioned everything. I think we had a really great conversation, and I'd like to send my appreciation to those who are commenting in our live chat and being with us throughout this whole broadcast. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts and insights about our topic today.
All right. And I just want to say hello to Crizel. Um, oh, wow. This is a long last name. Pagkaliwagan Bungay from Lubbock, Texas. Hello. Thank you for joining us here in Oregon. And we have Brother Benny all the way out in Albany as well joining us. And for everyone who has joined us, thank you so much. Um, we hope that our discussion helps us take the time to hit the pause button, especially when we face challenges, noise, and distractions. In those times, we find quiet moments. They allow us to regroup our minds and grow spiritually. It's a perfect time to prioritize and find solace in God.
Yes. Thank you so much, Flo. And I am super glad I was here in our conversation today. So now we go to our CFO activities or Christian Family Organization activities. So we have for our little kids, little brothers and sisters, we have our children's worship service, Tagisan ng Talino or Battle of the Brains. It is a friendly quiz competition between the members of the children's worship service. So for the local congregation of Vancouver, it will be on March 30th, 2025, at our place of worship activity area. And then for our local of Portland and local of Beaverton, please contact your resident minister or your leadership to ask for the specific date and time of your activity. But yes, so we have that very exciting competition to see our little brothers and sisters. Um, and I know they've been preparing really hard for that activity. And so for our special acknowledgement, we would like to thank our brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our executive minister, and our brother Angelo Irano V. Manalo, our CFO coordinator, CEBSI CEO and president, and our brother Wally Taray, our INC radio station manager, and also our resident ministers in the District of Oregon, as well as our district minister, Brother Moises Sica de Sale, and our assistant district minister, Brother Gino Ramilo. Is there anything else, Flo?
Yes, just some last messages coming through, and I love that. I would love to mention this. Brother Benny says, pause and slow down. is also a great tool to relax and don't allow yourself to get upset if some negative things happen around us. So, that positivity could kick in when, you take a pause. I love that, Brother Benny. Thank you. Brother Andrew says participating in CFO activities is another pause button from um, the hectic and stress of this world. That's a great one too. Um, Sister Rachel Samia said she enjoyed this topic, and I hope that everyone else also enjoyed this topic. We thank you, everyone, for joining us today here on INC Radio Oregon. And we'd like to say hello to our District Minister, Brother Moises Cadusale, and Assistant District Minister, Brother Gino Ramillo, and their families, as well as all the ministers joining us as well and their family members. And for you, our audience joining us, thank you so much for engaging with us. And join us again next week. After this episode, please share this broadcast link to your friends and family, and make sure to subscribe to INC Radio DZM 954 on the YouTube. Um, we hope that everyone will have a great weekend. Enjoy the little bit of sunshine that we're having today. And I know we're going to have a little bit more rain as the week goes on, as the week comes up. So enjoy what's sunshiny out there. Take care of you and take care of each other. We'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.